This is the Abbey and Parish Church of St. Peter and St. Paul in Bourne, Lincolnshire. This church was founded 886 years ago. Possibly one of the most enigmatic features of this building is that Bourne Abbey should have had two towers. One in the southwest, which is extant and stands, and one in the south north, which doesn't stand, which possibly was never built. The southern wall of the chapel contains a sundial in the gable above the window. The embattled 15th century south porch and nave are the only surviving fragments of the original Norman church. The existence of the medieval priest's doorway on the south side of the chancel's outer wall suggests that complete demolition did not take place. The west front was begun in the early 13th century, and its vista of lancet arcading and windows, and in the centre is a 15th century doorway, still with its ancient door, and on either side is a tower. It all looks a bit messy, doesn't it? That on the north has a flat roof being unfinished, while its companion, with a pinnacled top stage, was added in the 15th century, and it's more than twice as high. So only the southwest tower was built. Both tower walls have blank arcading both inside and outside. As can be seen here externally, the early English blank arcading for the tower fronts. The triple windows here in the middle were put in 1883 to replace a perpendicular west window. But the perpendicular west doorway was allowed to remain. Then, much later, it was decided to build at least one of the two towers. Standing beneath the northwest tower, there's little evidence that this tower ever rose above its present level. However, if you look up, you'll see the carved heads and the first sections of a stone vaulted roof, now replaced by a wooden one. The 12th century plan would show a building much the same as the present one, with a nave, narrow north and south aisles, large chancel, south transept, no evidence of a north transept, and twin towers at the west end, although it's uncertain whether the northerly one ever rose higher than its present level. The nave was for the use of the parishioners, and the chancel for the canons in the performance of their offices. There was a scheme to replace the 12th century church with one of cathedral-like proportions. The reasons these plans did not come to fruition are not known, but it's been suggested that it was thwarted by the Black Death. The most famous of the Abbey at Bourne's canons was Robert Manning, or Robert de Brune. Born in the town, a scholarly man, promoted the brotherhood and the unity of the English race by formulating one clear grammatical speech. That is why you can understand what I am saying today. It is Robert Manning who is responsible for this. The painting above the altar is believed to be a section of a triptych. The painting depicts the Last Supper. Beneath it, in old-fashioned script, are the words used by such Christians as Queen Elizabeth I to express the meaning of Holy Communion from a verse by John Donne. These two piles of stones with carved insets are of unknown origin, but may have come either from the monastic buildings or the demolished chancel. According to tradition, Hereward the Wake was buried in the chancel, as was, no doubt, the founder. No remains of these tombs exist, these having been demolished during the reconstruction of the chancel. I confess that I spent rather longer than usual on this fine brass Victorian lectern, which is in the form of an eagle supported on a pedestal, presented to the church in 1902. In the centre of the nave is this beautiful brass chandelier given by Matthew Clay in 1742 to the memory of his daughter, who died at the age of 22. Its 24 candles are lit at festivals, and this is a splendid sight over the worshipping congregation. In 1890, the oak Jacobean pulpit was sold to the Parish of Frampton near Boston for £3. It was replaced by a stone structure in the belief that a Norman church should have a Norman pulpit. We now know that that belief is incorrect. Norman churches didn't have pulpits. The chancel arch here appears to be missing, as if it was taken down at some time when the aisles were widened in the 15th century. The clerestory above the arches is of the 15th century. Here there are 4 round arches on each side, borne, no pun intended, up on massive piers. Above each arcade are 4 windows of the 15th century clerestory. The font, with an inscription meaning Jesus, is from the 15th century. The date of the roof is not known. Thank you for watching this short film of the Abbey and Parish Church of St. Peter and St. Paul in Bourne, Lincolnshire.